welcome to yet another session of our ongoing boot camp series as part of Leap to Unicorn Season 3, brought to you by IDFC First Bank in association with Money Control and CNBC TV18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar and I'm so thrilled to be your host on this journey. We've had a fantastic last week where we've spoken everything about the integration of artificial intelligence. We've spoken about crisis management and also being legal ready. But today we thought we'll shift gears. Now, it's very rightly said that you can't build a startup and definitely cannot be successful if you're doing all of this in a silo. So, how important is networking and strategic partnerships? That's exactly what we'll discuss in today's session. And for that, as usual, we have a very, very special guest joining us. We have the pleasure of having Karpe, the founder and partner at 100X VC. So, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us on this journey of our bootcamp series.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you so much, sir. So before we get down to, understanding the fine print of networking and strategic partnerships, when I introduced, I said that anyone you speak to today will say that you can't build a startup and definitely cannot succeed in it in silos. Will you agree with that opening remark?
Absolutely. Startups are started by founders, and in our firm, we funded 180 startups. So I have a little bit of broad range of experience. Founders who know what to do, they know the product, they know the technology, but once the startup is started, more important is whom are you interacting with, what is the network you have. That part of it, till that point, no one gives importance, but is absolutely important. So today's session, what you have thought of, is absolutely critical for the success of any startup.
So before I really get down to some numbers, sir, all I want to understand is that, we say that networking is very important, but when you speak to a lot of founders, especially people who are in this starting up phase, they feel a sense of being overwhelmed because they don't know where to begin, right? They don't know how to approach people. What is the right way of introducing themselves? Would you want to just begin us from that point as we step back from somebody who's just starting out? How do they begin this fascinating world of networking?
Well, the good news is that today you have so many options. We are not in a physical world. In the virtual world, you have plenty of options. Just select them. There are choices to be made. What do you want to do? You want to use LinkedIn as your platform? You want to go to startup accelerators? You want to join some WhatsApp groups? You want to join some community groups? There are plenty of options. You need to select what you want. You have to join something not out of desperation, but out of wanting to form a very meaningful partnership and meaningful relations. So make your choice. What do you want to do? Where do you want to start? All of these are available.
Lovely. And as you rightly said, like this is, vastly different from people you spoke to 15 to 20 years, where social media wasn't as aggressive as it is today. And as you said, some platforms like LinkedIn and others, in fact, can be used as that launch pad to really kick things off. Nirad sir, what we also usually try and do before every session is try and take a survey of the founders, because that's really the audience that is watching us, and they in fact are leaving their questions and comments as we're talking, which we will just get to in just a bit. But we took a survey to try and understand what are some of the biggest challenges when we speak about strategic partnerships, and it's very fascinating. If you give me a minute, I'll tell you some of the findings that we had. The highest number of people said that their biggest challenge is identifying collaborators beyond just a product fit. So I thought let's begin with that, because that seems to be one of the biggest challenges as far as these founders are concerned.
Yeah, so product fit is based on what you know, but identifying beyond that is whom you know. It is very critical. Once you have your product ready and what you know, you have to figure out, do you want network within your sector? Let's say you're doing something in the agri-tech space. Do you want someone in the agriculture space, which is a kind of sector focused, or do you want something horizontal? Which is someone will help you in product market fit, Someone will help you in advising on your distribution channel, on your right pricing model. You have to decide what exactly you want and then target that accordingly. Do you want both? Then, of course, it's a much more difficult situation, but it can be achieved. And if you want both, then you should ensure that you have a narrow number of people in both. The more number of people you have, the more advice you'll get, and you won't know what to do. But I would suggest that you first, if you're confident of your product, go to a horizontal person who will tell you about distribution channel strategy, pricing, go to market, all of that stuff. And once you have your arms around that, you can always go to industry expert at some point of time.
So that's exactly what I wanted to understand. When we speak about networking and strategic partnerships, I'm sure you have to identify which partnership you need at which stage of your starting up you are, right? So when you're beginning, you usually like to keep a close set of circle, could be your trusted friends, the employees that you're working with. And as you expand, you would want to have a larger group. So for somebody who's starting out again, what should that immediate group of networking or strategic partnerships look like?
See, your comfort zone, and it is such a underutilized kind of social network, is your alumni network.
Yeah.
I just, for example, not that I'm from NIT Durgapur, I'm just giving an example. They're old institutions. You get a founder from there. I told him, "Have you tapped into your alumni network?" He said, "Oh, I didn't think of that." It is such a powerful network. You have seniors 10 years, 15 years, 20 years who are in senior positions. You name whichever institute you are in, absolutely, that's the first thing you have to do. We have in India, unfortunately, not tapped our alumni network as powerful as it is done, let's say, in the Western world. So, other than your family and friends and very close cohort, whom you know physically and really well, your first protocol should be your alumni network. Seniors to you, juniors, 10 years senior, 15 years senior, they're all available on LinkedIn. Just say, I'm from this college, this batch, I want to help. 99 out of 100 will help you, as opposed to going randomly to some person and saying, I'm Vinat Karpe, I'm doing agritech, I want to help. 1 out of 100 will help you. What is there is real common sense. Just go do that. And people are not leveraging their college school network as effectively as they should.
How lovely. I think, sometimes just as a first human response is the sense of what if somebody doesn't reply, or what if I don't get a, reply from them in the right time. I think there's a sense of fear also that people assume before reaching out to people. And that's something that we again saw in the survey that we took, where about again, a good chunk of people said that the biggest challenge when we speak about strategic partnerships is how do you approach the right people without warm intros. So, what do you do about that?
So, of course, the college network is a straight opening line or school. I am so and so from this batch, and I need your help. It's a very, very straight line. But if the person is not from your alumni network and you have to do something cold, your first line has to be very important. What are you wanting to say, and why should that person help you? That is very critical. Don't send long, kind of messages on LinkedIn, to 30, 40, 50 lines. No one reads it. 5 to 7 lines, and then say, I can share something more. But the first line has to be very critical. Whether it is you say, would you like to know about the future of agritech? Do you know what is going to happen in the next 10 years? Uh, are you looking at the past as future? Or aren't you excited about an exciting startup? Would you like to? Whatever it is, the first line is critical. 5 to 6 lines. Can I send you more details? That is the approach for a cold mailer or even a LinkedIn. The moment I get 50 lines LinkedIn, it is not possible, physically
Yeah.
not possible. So please don't make that mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you also need to understand and appreciate the other person's time. So you need to be brief, you need to be crisp, and you need to be able to convey what you want in those few lines to get that attention as well. That's very rightly said. I just quickly want to also understand, every time we have a session like this, we focus on what they should do. But I also want to understand again of what they shouldn't do, right? So why don't you just to like get us into the deeper fine print of strategic partnerships, talk to us about a mistake that because you've mentored so many founders, you've worked with so many startups, helping them forge these strategic partnerships. So help us understand a very common mistake that you see when people are, reaching out or beginning to forge these strategic partnerships.
So, the language and how we approach is as important as the content. We make sometimes a mistake saying, my product is damn good. It's the next brilliant thing out of after Facebook. And if I write to Ninad, he'll definitely write back. Uh, Confidence is good, arrogance is not. And sometimes when you move over from overconfidence or confidence, which is very good, you have to have confidence in yourself, but and you move on the other side, it really becomes very tough. I'll give you one or two real examples. I'll make it very brief. One 17-year-old boy, this is a true story. All what I'm
Sure.
telling you is true stories. 17-year-old boy got after me saying, I want to pitch to you. I said, okay. Uh, I got on a video call. He put on his camera and he pitched to me. And of course, that was the idea I didn't want to fund. So I told him, I'm sorry, I'm not funding you. So he said, why? So I generally don't say why, but I got, a 17-year-old boy, let me give him some advice. Sometimes that paternal feeling comes out, which is not good. One should not be emotional, but it happened in that moment. And I told him the reason. So he told me straight on my face, he said, Nina, they're talking bullshit. Now, one has to be careful. I didn't respond to that. I have had another, video pitches. I'll tell you, one guy was wearing a vest. He was uncombed hair. One guy was smoking a cigarette. Be very careful. You might think this is cool. It is uncool for in a pitch. A pitch is, or whenever you're speaking, communication is very, very, very serious. Don't you get only one shot at talking to someone, and if you don't mess up that shot, anytime you're telling anything to anyone, assume it's a pitch you're making to him or her. Take it very seriously. So the language, the form, everything is as important as the content.
That's very, very well put, Dinatha, that you might take it very lightly, but this could be make or break for you because that's that one shot that you get. If you impress it, who knows what the end of the world really will look like for you. Before I continue this conversation, as part of this bootcamp series, we not just want to get the expert opinion, but we also want to answer all your questions in real time. So, this is, of course, a reminder to all the lovely founders who are watching us that you can continue to pin your comments so that we can take those questions because this can then become like a live Q&A for you also. And Ninat of course, will love to answer those. So, let me
Sure.
just take some questions. Sir. We're already getting quite a few of them. So, I want to take a few of them already. Riva is writing in and saying, how do you identify which investors will actually be value adding partners and not just capital providers, especially when you don't have a strong personal network in VC yet?
So, the VC world in India is very, very small compared to the size of the country, compared to, let's say, in US or China or other places. So everyone knows about the VC. If you are not aware, and let's say you get a term sheet from someone, you have to go up and down in your alumni network and ask questions. You have to go into the VC's website, see the startups they've funded, find links to those founders, talk to those founders, understand from them. Very important. They will tell you exactly what they think. uh, Plus, of course, there is always a reputation. Some VCs are sector focused, some are stage focused, early stage, late stage. It has to align with you. Not it's money is not the only thing, but the whole value system of the VC has to be aligned. So do all of this diligence before you actually take money. There are very few VCs who provide only capital. Those days are gone because VCs put money and they want the startup to succeed as much as you do. Absolutely, they want it to succeed.
It's not just a money transaction.
True, true, true. Very true.
Uh, Riva, I hope we were able to answer that. I see Riva has another question, but before I go to that, we have another VC related question that's coming in from Nitin, and he's asking how to get good VC network related to our field, websites or connections.
So websites is the broadcast information. So you have to use websites to figure out what they have broadcasted. Then one another way is to once you have kind of zeroed on to some VCs, check the partners, check their profile, check what they're writing on LinkedIn, what they're saying, so you'll understand their thought process. So I write a lot on LinkedIn, and I just keep writing what I feel and I feel strongly about. So you can check all this. But connections, of course, as I mentioned, are important. The startups which the VCs have funded are the best bet to go to the founders and figure out.
Lovely. Before I take some more questions, I want to go back to what you were saying to that 17-year-old boy who made that pitch to you. And I'm sure there must be many more like him, right? Which
Sure.
is that who must be not realizing what they're doing wrong, right? Would you want to tell us certain red flags or certain parameters on which founders are being judged and they wouldn't know about it?
So, however good your product, you cannot get away from a good pitch.
Hmm.
You cannot say that the good pitching is overhead. It doesn't work. So first red flag is you come casual into a VC's office and you say, "Oh, this is my product," and come on, guys, do you want to invest in it? Kind of a thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You have to be obviously wanting to pitch properly. So the big red flag is being unprepared. It happens so many times. Before you go to pitch to a VC, practice 100 times, pitch to yourself 50 times, pitch to your partner 20 times, pitch to your grandmother 50 times, pitch to your neighbor 100 times, pitch to your neighbor's dog 50 times. You have to keep pitching on and on till you're so confident. Go and stand in front of a tree and pitch. Do that. Don't just come casual. So first red flag is great product, founders casual. We do not understand how we can trust this person with our money. It's a big red flag. The second red flag is not a red flag, but something which you should be aware of. If you're a three, four founders, all of it the same skills, all of them are coding or all of them marketing, it doesn't work. You have to have founders with complementary skills. VCs love founders who have really, really complementary skills. Another thing which VCs don't like is, you don't take salary now. The moment you get money, you take, 100 times, 10 times the salary which you are taking. And you say, no, no, now I've got funded. I was just taking, 1x, now I'll take 1000x. The more money you take out from your startup, you're killing it. Ultimately, it doesn't work because, both you and the VC have to make it happen. So these are some of the red flags which are very critical.
I completely agree with you. Like you said, that you should be able to pitch in your sleep. That's the kind of confidence they should have. As anchors, we do something similar. Before a show, we practice in front of a mirror, we practice to an empty hall. And that's exactly the reason that your nervousness goes out of the room and you're prepared for any solution. So I completely agree with that advice. I was asking you about red flags, and I see Riva has a similar question. So we've already answered that. Let me take a couple of more questions before I go back to understanding some more broader aspect. Srinivasan is writing in and he's saying, how do we ascertain whether a specific network group is apt for my product service or not? So how do we ascertain which is whether a service network is apt for my product service or not?
So most of these networks are already in existence for a couple of years. If a network is very new, this question is relevant
Hmm.
because then you have to figure out what the network is about, what they're doing. But there are very few networks which are coming up in the, let's say, last 6 months to 1 year. and not seen. Most of them are 5 years, 6 years, 8 years old. You have to do your inquiries, from people who are members in the network, people, startups who have taken funding from the network. So it's not difficult at all. You have to do some diligence before approaching that network.
True. But also the bigger question is that how do you identify also, whether these partnerships, how do you find that whether they're apt for your product and apt for a long term as well? And I think this is something similar that Abhishek is also asking us. He says, "Hi, I'm Abhishek, founder of Earth Story Farms, which is a farm to home D2C brand. We still bootstrapped and are now starting to look for VCs with synergy. Now, there are institutions who help you connect with VCs and help you raise funds for a commission. Are they really helpful?"
I'm not a big fan of going to someone who will connect to VCs for a commission, and which VCs don't know that, oh, this guy has come here through a commission model. VCs generally hate that. So, for example, we never pay any commission to anyone who brings us, zero. That is not the model, which is a good business model. That becomes a very, very, transaction based push model, and there is no genuinity in the whole thing. So don't go through them. As I said earlier, VCs are not such a large group in India, so you need to just approach them directly. They are all approachable either on LinkedIn or through founder. The best way to approach a VC is through a founder they have funded whom you know. Then suppose I get a mail from let's say Kerala Banana Chips founder Manas Madhu, whom we have known for last 5 years. We funded, and he says, "Hi, Ninath, this is a person I know from college. Why don't you have a look?" It suddenly goes high up on my email inbox as opposed to getting a random one. These are small things, but what happens is Manas has put his neck on that email, and I'm 90% comfort is already there. I will then take it. Of course, it goes on merit. I know I'm not. I don't fund unless it's a scalable idea and all of that. But it comes up like that. So do something like that to build. To go to VCs. Coming back to question, which kind of VCs, which kind of networks to approach. So there are groups which do only fintech investments. There are groups who do consumer brands. There are groups who do deep tech. So first, look at the thesis of that group. Does that thesis match with what you are trying to do? That is the first kind of filter. The second filter is how many years have they been doing? What have they really funded? Which are the startups they have funded, and look at them. If they have been there for a long time but not funded many startups, it's obviously not very active, very passive. You want to go to
Yeah.
active group. So that's the second filter you should do. And third, of course, try and approach a founder who has been funded by that network. You're going to
Lovely.
get all my secrets out today. Huh? There's nothing going to be left.
Well, that's really the point. But let's take it in the way that this is for the larger good of the startup ecosystem. And I'm loving how candid you're being. So thank you so much for that. But I have to tell you, if I go back to the survey that we did with founders just to try and understand their biggest challenges, one of them was very, very fascinating, which said that our biggest challenge in finding the right strategic partnership is that we just don't have the time to network. And I was very fascinated by that. From somebody again who's mentored and backed so many of these startups and founders, how crucial is the role of networking for anybody who's looking to scale? And what do you tell founders who say that I'm just unable to find time to network?
Well, if you're unable to find time to network, bye bye to raising money. Very,
Hmm.
very simple. There is a global statistic, not scientifically proven, but just by intuition, and people have written about it. The global average, an average startup founder has to pitch 65 times before she gets funded. Average. Now, have you pitched 65 times? If the answer is no, you're below the global average. Are you ready to pitch 65 times? If the answer is no, don't even start the journey. Approach your friends, your family network, they are obviously comfortable with you, and you can raise money. Pitching is very serious. It is, if there are multiple co-founders, one co-founder has to be focused largely on this part of it. Investor management, pitching to investors. If you're a single founder, well, work 24 hours a day. But if you don't have time, please don't go to VCs. And I'm being very candid. I think it's
Yeah.
important that founders understand the seriousness of it. You can raise money from your family and who's telling you to go to VCs? There's no need.
Yeah, but the point being made is that when you go, you need to have your best foot forward and you need to be completely prepared. So one, you're not wasting anyone's time, and then you also, approach it positively to get a positive result. We seem to be getting a lot of very interesting questions as far as strategic investors and those kind of partnerships are concerned. So let me just take some of those questions. Mohit is asking, what's your take on choosing between a strategic investor and just an investor?
If you just want an investor, approach your family, friends, neighbors, friends, neighbors, relatives. They are investors. They like you. You're a good lad. They'll invest in you, but they may not be able to provide strategic advice. The value people like us bring, and I'm not. This is not a sales pitch for 100x, but just as a matter of thing is, we have done 180 investments, so it's a very different ball game and understanding of the ecosystem. Don't choose investor. If you want to choose an investor, have a lifestyle business. If you go to a strategic investor like a VC, have a scalable business. So option is yours. Nothing is wrong. Having a lifestyle business is also not an issue. You have a good living. You have friendly people who are invested, and you run your own business. No one to tell you what to do, not to do. But if you want a scalable business, go to a strategic investor or VC.
Mohit, I think that was a very clear answer. I hope that helped you at least understand what the difference is. Most importantly, it helps you understand what your long term plan is before you make that choice for yourself. Rachit is now asking us how to form a mutually beneficial partnership with early supporters slash investors.
So, what you need to have is not just a good business, but a business which has a model which scales rapidly. If it does not scale rapidly, does not have velocity, does not have momentum, VCs and professional investors will not come in. Uh, just as an example, nothing right or wrong. Let's say if I have a business, I live in Mumbai, South Mumbai. If I have a business of doing a 8 grain sourdough bread for only South Bombay, it's a good business. I can make good money. But is it a scalable, fundable business? The answer is probably no. So you have to decide how you want to, which path you want to follow.
Before I had something in mind to discuss, but I just saw a question and it's very interesting. And I think we should take it. Sushil is asking us, do you have any feedback for a husband or wife founder? How does a VC really see this combo for the startup? Is there a risk or is there an advantage?
We see neither of it. So why husband wife? We nowadays, we get people in relations, couples, and they're very candid about it that we are in a relation or we are a couple. Uh, so it's good. It's good when it's very very good when it's good, and sometimes becomes very bad when it's bad because the personal equation when it is great and touch wood, out of 180 we had only one problem, but other there we had couples. All 180 are not obviously couples, but I don't know the exact number. But by and large, we have found it to be very useful because what happens then, the whole family is committed to the startup. Both are committed, whether they're married, not married, there's 100% commitment to the startup. Obviously, sometimes, unfortunately, if personal relations do not work out, startups, they go down very rapidly as opposed to other situations where, there's some way to salvage. But there also, what I have experienced in the unfortunate event that partners relation don't work out,
Hmm.
people are pretty logical nowadays. People leave aside emotions and business, and they find a way around it. So I don't take it as a negative. In fact, I take it as a positive.
How lovely. Because when they say that if you have a happy, passionate personal equation, that of course reflects on your professional relationship as well. So we hope that helped you answer your question. Now, Shalin is asking something that I think you just touched upon. He's asking, should we approach VCs who've invested in our peers? And I think you already gave that answer
Right.
that uh, if somebody does refer you, then it kind of goes up in your list of pitches that you're going to take at. So I think that question is already a yes. We've answered that. Let me take the other one. Pradeep is asking. We started with the technology development and got MVP ready to capture and characterize. Now we're grappling with new COVID variant outbreak again. We're of course getting a lot of interest from other parties as well, from international VCs and investors, but not in India. What do you think seems to be missing?
Well, go ahead. It's the global market. If wherever you get interest, you should get the investors. Now, what is missing is very difficult from your question to respond. But let me give a very general response. It's not true that we do not invest in deep tech or technology which is unproven. It's just that we do not get as many pitch decks, and we have at 100x, invested in a lot of stuff. Just recently in Jan, we invested in a company called Celerin Labs, which is doing. It's a very deep tech company. Uh, when I, when I hear these words, VCs do not understand. It's very tough to kind of figure out what is the missing link there. Is it because the pitch hasn't been done right, or is it because the VCs there are horizontal people who have not understood that domain? There could be many such things, but do not lose heart. You really want Indian people to VCs to fund you. Keep going. There are people who fund. It's not such a big deal. And at the same time, it's open world. You can take money from outside. It's a competitive world. If Indian VCs are not understanding, take money from outside. Indian VCs will chase you when you become big, or vice versa, or vice versa.
Depends on how you're approaching it, of glass half full or glass full empty, right? But so this is something that might put you in a catch 22. You are saying that 100x is backing so many startups. We have Ravi who's writing in, and he's saying that 100x VC website is not accepting applications right now. Is there any other way to get funded by 100x VC?
So, we have funded 180 startups in the last 5 years. That's a lot. So, we are taking a small pause, and we have made it public. Maybe we should have put it on the website, and that's a mistake. We are presently at 100x. We are not investing any further for some time. We're just harvesting the 180 which investments we have made. So, yes, the answer is we are not investing at this point of time any further investment. We have paused for some couple of months or probably a year or so.
Okay, so Ravi, I hope that helped you understand why they're not accepting applications. And to be fair, it's not just about backing a startup or a founder, but it's also fostering a relationship, and that requires some bit of time as well. So hopefully, when they restart, you will have your application accepted. And here's wishing you the very, very best. Before I go back to some more questions, and I have to tell you this, that I think this is the maximum number of questions that we've seen so far in any of the questions. So I think thank you, sir, for being so candid, because we're really being bombarded with questions, and it's great to see such an active audience. But before I take some more audience questions, I actually want to go back to some more broad
Sure.
parameters of networking and strategic partnerships, just trying to understand certain pitfalls, certain mistakes that founders would be making. When I speak to a lot of startups and founders, especially in their early stages, there is a bit of a gray area and a bit of a confusion as to what really binds a partnership. Do you need to have a formal agreement, or does an informal handshake really work? What are the times that we're living in?
So, between the founders, you're saying, or
No, between the partners and the founders.
between the VC partners,
Yes,
any
yes.
partner, any partner.
Any partner, like whether you're looking at an investor, a strategic partnership, but anything between the partner and the strategic partnership that they're looking at.
So I'll step back, just a little bit, Ridhima, if you don't mind. Before you
Sure.
get think even about a partnership, you have to be clear what you want in the partnership. Do you want technology from that person? Do you want credibility from that person? The person is a celebrity, and you want him or her to kind of be part of your journey. Do you want just her or him as a mentor, advisor? What do you want? Do you want just a distribution channel? For example, the person is CEO of a quick commerce e-commerce company, and you are wanting, be clear what you want, and have one objective at one time. Don't have
Hmm.
multiple objectives. So today, if you want, let's say, very focused, I am a D2C company. A lot of these people are mentioning D2C. I want to get into e-commerce, quick commerce, and I'm not being able to get. Then just go hard, very very tough on that, and just approach all the guys who can give you connects there. If you want someone to just mentor you generally, on just be a sounding board and everything, that's a different one. Now,
Hmm.
once you have identified, so if you are doing a distribution, it's a business relation. Once you tie up, obviously, you'll have all those normal agreements. But let's say you want a mentor or strategic advisor, if you're, it's either whatever the basis of that arrangement, whether it's some soft options or whether it is money or whatever, or free. I think you should put it on paper. What happens is generally at a very early stage, there's never a problem because everyone is in the excitement of growing the startup. The problem will happen when you're successful.
Hmm.
Very happy thing to do, which is the success part of it, but not the problem part of it.
Yeah.
So when it's successful, then the other things happen. So if it's a transaction based, obviously there is a legal agreement framework. If it's non-transaction based arrangement, you need to put it on record, saying that thank you for agreeing to give me 1 hour a week on a pro bono basis. We really appreciate, and that's it. Or we will pay you X amount of money per hour or whatever. You have to get a sign off.
I think that's very very helpful. As you said that when you start, it's all rosy, but as you start to do well, it can get complicated. So it will be in your benefit if you do have that formalized on paper. We seem to be getting a lot of questions, and I'll quickly just go to them in just a bit. But I have to also ask you another aspect, which is, a lot of founders also find it a little overwhelming. I started with this, so they're unable to decipher that if I have, a limited bandwidth, I have limited resources, do I focus on accelerator programs? Do I focus on events? Or do I focus on harboring these one to one connections? How do I decide? Is there a one up or do I have to give 50-50 to both?
First, have a objective every week. How many meaningful new contacts you're going to make? Is it three, four, one, five, whatever? So you have to have that first objective. I would say at the minimum, you should target one meaningful contact where you are able to interact with that person. It's not just you send link and contact accept it, but you are meaningful. Have that. Once that kind of thing is in your mind, then everything else will follow accordingly. All of it will follow.
Lovely. I really have to now take some questions before our audience gets very upset with me. Saransh is asking that, hi, sir, this is Saransh from Lapcart. There we are an online platform to buy superb, great, premium, refurbished Apple gadgets, especially MacBooks. So the question that he's asking is our business model not VC friendly as we've got lots of rejections till date?
Have you pitched 65 times? Ask him. You please respond, then I'll respond to you. Saransh.
Okay, Saransh,
Let's
so we'll wait for your response. Ninad's asking, have you pitched about 65 times? Help us understand how many times you've pitched and what is the rejection rate that you've seen. And, of course, that'll help us understand where you stand. But overall, Ninad, do you think this is a sector issue or is this something that the VCs are not looking at?
So, broadly, VCs want a very highly scalable business model. Whether
Hmm.
you're, in a services space, or there are services startups which have been funded by VCs. It's not that they fund only, D2C models. That's not true at all. There are manufacturing startups, there are deep tech, there are services. You see the names, there are plenty of them. So it is not that because you're in the services and doing refurbished Apple, you're not getting funded. Will you go grow from 1 to 100 in 3 years' time, in 2 years' time, or will you take 1 to 100 in 10 years' time? 1 to 100 in 10 years also not a bad business. You'll do well for yourself and your family, but it may not be VC fundable because VCs are not interested in such a long time frame, not because of any other reason. It's just that it becomes a normal business, not a startup business. So you have to, figure out what the model is all about. Saransh is saying is, pitched 80 plus times. Great, Saransh. So that means you have gone above the global average. Good to get this feedback. So then you have to figure out, is there something where you're not able to convey the scalability? Uh, and if you're not able to convey, you may be scalable and you firmly believe you're scalable, but if you're not able to convey it in a digestible form to a VC will not fund you. So if you have pitched 80 times, if you have a scalable business, if you have a business which is really going to rocket, but there is a way in which you have to put it across, and you've not been able to do it, just introspect on that. I'm not saying I don't know, maybe you're doing a right or wrong job, yeah, introspect. He's saying he's pitched 200x. Well, thank you, but unfortunately we have paused now, so I can't relook at it again just now. When we open up, obviously you can come back to 100x.
But how fascinating is this to have this kind of a live feedback coming in with the audience? It's great that, today, the times that we live in, we can have this real time responses being given. So, big thank you to our founders and, of course, to our mentors like Anad, who join us every day and give their time and expertise as well. Let me go to another question, Anad, that's coming in from Hari. And he, in fact, is saying that, hi, Ninad. I'm Hari. I'm founder of RiseUp.com. We've built strong early traction in EdTech and are now looking to partner with larger corporates and global players. What's the best way to initiate strategic partnerships when you're still a growing brand?
LinkedIn, hurry, uh, be in a hurry. Just get onto LinkedIn Premium, put some meaningful content on LinkedIn, have interviews on LinkedIn, post, just reach out in LinkedIn is the most underrated and the most powerful social media tool. As young girls and boys love all the likes they get on Instagram. There's nothing wrong in it. You
True.
love, if you're slightly older, you use Facebook and you love the likes you get. It's good to get 1,000 likes, but it's wonderful to get one person on LinkedIn saying, Hari, I want to talk to you. I saw this post. So do not underestimate the power of LinkedIn.
I completely agree again. It takes you a while to build your community, but when you do have that community and it starts reaching the right audience, the potential of LinkedIn really today is for all of us to see. I hope that helped you answer that question, and we will see a lot more coming on LinkedIn from you, Hari. All wishing you all the best. Let me take this question from Jharna. Jharna is asking, as deep tech founders, we often need to share future plans and technical details with potential investors to build trust and show long term value. But we also worry about oversharing or risking our IP or strategic edge. From your experience, when do we draw the line?
This is a very sensitive question. And Hari, while you're at it, just tell me if you're active on LinkedIn, and if you're not, what is your 6 monthly plan? Just put it right down. let everyone know that what you're planning. Jharna, this is what you asked is very sensitive, a very interesting question. Uh, and, particular in early stage, whatever stage, we don't sign NDAs. Well, it's not possible. Over the last 6 years, I have as a firm, we've seen 60,000 pitch decks. Obviously, there are some competing ideas we see. And if we keep signing NDAs, it just doesn't work in the VC business. You have to work on trust, trusting the VC. And I don't think, and hopefully I'm proved 100% correct, I don't think you'll come across a VC who's going to pinch idea here and pinch idea there. It will not work because the reputation is all that a VC has. And VC's reputation is very, very critical. So if you don't share, you don't get funded. If you share,
Yeah.
you're scared the idea will leak. If the idea leaks, it's over. At the end of the day, remember, that 0.001% chance of idea leaking. Execution is everything that matters. Absolutely everything. In any case, the moment you file your papers for IP, it is in the public domain. You file for patent, all your whatever you're doing is in the public domain. Everyone knows what you're doing. So what is there to hide? If you do not have conviction in your strong execution, you will not be able to, give freely or talk freely to a VC. You have to talk. There's no
Hmm.
option.
Yeah. The other question that we're getting from Ehsan is actually, I think, based on a lot of personal experiences. He's asking that do investors or partners consider a founder's disability, like being wheelchair bound, while making these decisions? How is it generally perceived? And he's saying that I've personally faced some challenges or rejections about this. So, is this even a criteria while making a final decision?
Of course not. I mean, come on. We are in 2025. This is not, it's a different world. We have funded, we haven't got many people. This is absolutely, I mean, I'm just aghast that you've been rejected. We have funded a person who is one of the co founders, is wheelchair bound. Absolutely no problem. I don't know. I don't want to discuss this further because I just feel very, very troubled listening to this. It is not
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah.
It is not a
Ezan,
problem.
I think you should not see your disability or any of these things as a criteria for making a final decision.
Okay, Ridhima will join us shortly. Let me take one or two questions while she is coming back. Dipali is asking, can we pitch for strategic partnership without asking for fund? So, what partnership would you want with the VC? VC's business is to invest and grow the startup and have a strategic partnership. You can pitch for strategic partnership, but VC will not be interested because VCs are wanting to invest money. So that will be tough for you. Uh, Let me check what are the question. Anuradha is asking, is it good to do partnership at established company terms and conditions and take the risk of capital investment? At established, okay. So you're saying, let's say you do with some large companies like Maruti, or I'm just throwing names. And if I'm wrong, please again ask a second, again a follow-up question. I'll be happy to take it. So there is a model in the Western countries is very nascent in India. Very few have it, called CVC, corporate venture capital, where companies not only have strategic partnership, established companies, but also invest in startups. In India, we have had more of corporate innovation, where For example, Maruti is doing it and others are doing it, where they promote startups with corporate innovation, but do not necessarily invest. Uh, so you have to see if you are in that space and if you want to tie up with the large company. The advantage of tying up with the large company is typically when you tie up, they more or less it's a soft commit, sometimes hard commit, depends on terms and condition. They you're more or less certain of getting some amount of business from them. So it's all contextual. This tie-ups are if you're from that industry, there's a large established company from the industry, you should go ahead. Let me take some more. Jay Sudan is asking, I'm founder of a social startup working on empowering deaf community to live independently with that is scalable. What is the typical times return? There's no typical times return, so you have to make up your mind. Is it a impact startup, is it an NGO, or a scalable startup? All three flavors are available. If it's an NGO, then you approach CSR and those kind of people for funding. If it's an impact startup, which is a social startup but for profit, there are impact funds which are separate, other than a pure play VC funds, and go to them because they really are looking at more and more funding. There are some in India, there are a lot of them in Europe. You please approach them. If you're looking for a pure play, VC, as I mentioned to you, how fast can you scale from 1 to 100? 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? Depending on that and how you can scale your revenue, the VC will take a call on the appetite. Dr. Shweta Agarwal says, how do you look at higher GST rates on D2C brands? Is it deterrent to growth? So, GST rates is not something which you can control, right? It is something which is imposed on you. Now, if there's something which you cannot control, just accept it the way it is. And India is a large market. You will not get the depth, breadth, and the width of a consumer market anywhere in the world, except probably a little bit in China. But we are not talking about that. We're talking about India. So if you are sitting in a market which has got so much depth, breadth, and width, whatever the GST rate, you have to figure out how to make money because of the large size of the consumer market. So don't worry about GST rate. There's nothing you can do about it. Yes, through your association of your particular industry, you can always approach the government and make a delegation, whatever. But that is something which might be a slightly longer journey. In the short term, don't worry about the GST rates. Just go head on to execution and get market share, grow your revenues. Vimal is Ridhima, are you back?
Yes, yes, I am. I
Okay, sorry.
apologize. I really
No,
apologize for those technical snag, but I think this is the world that we all live in. So, thank
sure.
you, Ninath, for making my job easier. And as I said, these are sometimes the maximum number of questions that we've gotten. But you were answering a question with Vimal. Please go ahead.
I have not read it, so if you can, uh, I think we've lost Ridhima again. Uh, So let me read what Vimal is asking. How to decide that you're ready for acquisition or just fundraise is good, especially in case of a strategic investor. We are profitable agri-tech company of fifth year, grow at 105% year on year, received multiple acquisition offer. This is a very interesting question, Vimal. It's up to you. What do you see yourself in the next 5, 10 years? Do you want to continue on this journey of wealth, or do you want a journey of income? The moment you get acquired, obviously you will get immediate money, and obviously you're well off. But if you continue on, with a startup, and eventually, what say, want to do you want to do an IPO, or you want to scale more and more. It's a journey of wealth. The journey of wealth is long. You have to be patient. Uh, Eventually, generally, normally, you'll get more money in a journey of wealth. Not necessarily. If some things go wrong, it can just break. But a journey of income means you are 100% guaranteed that if you have an acquisition and you sell out to someone, you'll get X or Y amount of money. So it's up to you. It's your mindset. There are founders in both directions. Recently you see a lot of people who have gone down the journey of income. A minimalist is an example of, within 5 years, 3 or 5 years, they achieved very, very robust revenues, and they went for acquisition. But I have other cases where they do not want to get acquired so soon. So we are in and out with Ridhima.
No,
So
no, I'm still here,
yeah,
and
yeah. Okay.
I didn't want to disturb you while you were, answering that question. I still
Sure, sure.
apologize for my technical lags, but I just want to keep the discussion going, sir, because we're about to, reach the end of our discussion. So I just quickly want to understand, maybe if you give us, it's like a rapid fire of sorts. If you give us the top three red flags where a pitch can completely go wrong while pitching to an investor.
The first red flag is, five founders. I'm just saying five. Generally, you don't have, let's say, 3 or 5 founders, all doing the same thing. There's no, all of doing a marketing, all of them doing coding. That's the first red flag. Second is, if you're not able to articulate a huge market size and a model which you have conceived to be scalable. And the third is that you are not a painkiller. You're not something which there's a moat. A moat can be anything. It could be an unfair advantage for you. It could be a technology. It could be the way you are executing it. It could be the way you go to market. Anything. These three things have, if they're not clear, all red flags. And these are subjective things. You might think you've said it, but if the VC hasn't
Hmm.
digested what you've said or understood what you've said, or you're not able to connect, the VC will say no.
Yeah. Were you adding something else, Nirad sir?
No, that's it. I've said those three things.
Okay. Okay. The other aspect that I also wanted to understand is, and this is something that we again hear from a lot of founders, is there a particular stage in their starting up journey where they should think of adding these strategic partnerships, or is this something that should be done from the start itself?
So I'm a big fan of, if you're going to take VC money and you're going down the track, the earlier the better. And I'll give
Hmm.
exact examples. When one of our uh, startups which we had funded 5 years back, they came to us with a PowerPoint, and they were in the data analytics space. We loved the founders. We loved what they were wanting to do. It is rare to be funded on PowerPoint, but yes, we did that. The other one is, Kerala Banana Chips. When he came to us, was very, very, new. Now, the advantage of coming early is that you are guided on a path of how to scale your business right early, as opposed to taking
Correct.
seeking just advice of how to run a business. How to run a business is very different from how to run a startup. Very different. They are different worlds. How to
Hmm.
run a business, there are hundreds of people who can give you advice because they're all around the place. India, wherever you live, you are still living in a village. You always have your family's friends, friend who always advising you. So you live in a village. So all those village people will always give you advice how to run your business. But how to run a startup is not that easy. It's very difficult. Now, if you assume, if you do not want to take money early and say, I'll get so much traction, I'll get better valuation, and blah, 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 you might go on a wrong track and maybe difficult to come back and follow a track which is VC fundable. Not to say that people who have gone on this track have not succeeded. They have succeeded. A lot of there are startups doing
Yeah.
both. There are startups, very large guys like Zerodha and all, who never raised money from VCs. So everything can happen. But given a choice and the experience I've had for last many years as a VC, I still strongly feel the earlier the better.
The earlier the better. I think that's perfect advice for us to unfortunately have to begin wrapping this discussion. I cannot thank Ninat sir enough because this has been such a learning experience for each one of us, also to learn from real life experiences and the kind of interaction that we saw with our lovely founders. So thank you so much. I have to tell all our lovely founders that you can still leave in your comments. We'll try and get back to you. Any questions, any big takeaways, we'd love to answer those as well. Ninat sir, one final parting word of advice to anyone who's pitching and anyone who has a sense of fear. What if am I rejected?
So just remember this. If last 1 hour you've zoned in and out of this event, just remember this last line which I'm going to say. Capital is chasing ideas. There was a world in India where ideas were chasing capital. You have an idea, you go to a bank, then they ask collaterals, cumbersome. You get your father's, parents guarantee this, that. Today, VCs are chasing great ideas. There is capital. If it's a great idea, if it's a fund, if it's a scalable business model, you will get funded. Capital is chasing ideas. Okay, let me take one more question. This is a very specific question, but let me take it. Simi is saying we are Gen AI company providing virtual lab for cosmetic R&D. We are looking at seed fund. We finished a product, but B2B conversion takes time. How to raise funding when early traction is so low? There are a few VCs who fund early, and if you do not get money from VCs, you can approach family offices, or you can approach your friends and family to raise money. At early stage, or even angels, whichever city you live in, there are angels, super angels who put that early check. So your bet is on some of the angels, kind of limited number of VCs who are do very very early stage, and if not, your some of your family and friends.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think that's all the time that we had. I will apologize to Ninat sir and to our lovely audience for my technical lags, and Ninat sir for being such a sport to fill in and help me carry this conversation forward. Big thank you to all our founders as well. We hope there was enough learning experience for you. As I said, do write in your questions, takeaways. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be back again tomorrow with another session, hopefully this time with no technical lags. But do tune in. Until then, thanks a lot for watching.